Good afternoon. This was supposed to have started before now, and Mark, we appreciate you sticking around. I would like to welcome today's witness, Mr. Mark Greenblatt, to the subcommittee. Today, we are beginning an opportunity to hold an oversight of the Council of the Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency. And today's hearing is a bipartisan hearing that will take place where we are looking forward to not only working with our witness today, but also examining the role that Congress has provided for CIGIE to exist. So without objection as I move forward, we want to wave on Congresswoman Harriet Hagman, Glenn Grothman, Barry Loudermilk, and Chip Roy. And all of these will be waved on the committee for the purpose of questioning witnesses today. Does the gentleman have anybody that you would like to add to that list?
I don't have anybody, and I don't have any objection.
Thank you very much. In addition to his duties as Inspector General for the Department of Interior, Mr. Greenblatt serves as the current chairman of the Council on Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency. This is known as CIGIE. CIGIE's mission is to address integrity, economic, and effectiveness issues that transcend individual government agencies, help increase professionalism and efficiency and effectiveness by personnel by developing policies, standards, and approaches as they appear to aid in the establishment of a well-trained and highly skilled workforce in the offices of Inspector General across the government. Today's hearing will provide members with an opportunity to examine CIGIE's legislative priorities, receive an update on the day-to-day operations, and better understand its internal processes. However, I need to also admit, as Mr. Greenblatt and I met yesterday, the elephant in the room seems to be the expectation of an upcoming Integrity Committee report on the investigation of the current Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security. So, Mr. Greenblatt and I did speak yesterday, and we discussed how he is not able to address this issue or really questions regarding the substance of this report until it has been released to the public. We believe that that is a minimum of 1 month from now. That process that's being worked through is an open process, so to speak, in that it's allowing feedback to be given to members of that committee who will then make recommendations. Nonetheless, it's a good opportunity, Mr. Greenblatt, to have you before us to explain why members should have confidence in the Integrity Committee's work. But that comes from knowing more about how we see it and you see it and coming to some, what I think is a closer recognition of the intent of Congress, not only at the time Congress gave this authority and responsibility, but its ongoing responsibility of our oversight. Aside from the pending investigation that is before this CIGIE group, there have been instances in which ICE reports preceded the removal of inspector generals. These include things that have done before, and so we're going to make sure that we have a clearer understanding about that process. As I said to Mr. Greenblatt yesterday, I think it's important that we understand that for people to want to have this job, to serve as inspector generals, and to get the kind of people that you believe and I believe and any administration would believe that they would want highly qualified and people who would work within a structure that is well understood. So that there are 3 inspector generals gone in a 6-month period of time does not lend itself to the stability that I believe is effectiveness for not just Congress, but also for people who serve in that position. So add to it the most recent semi-annual report from the ICs, which states that it has received 1,755 incoming communications, resulting in 75 cases for IC's formal disposition, and that is that 6 investigations are pending completion, which means that it's a lot of work It's a big bucket, and it's upon each of you to deal with that. So we want to know what's going on in the IG community. We want to hear from you. We had a very cordial conversation yesterday. However, we understand that whistleblower complaints are a part of the frustrations that not only take place within the agencies at the IG, but the IGs have to deal with that in their own work performance. Perhaps more importantly is how can we have the confidence that the work of the Inspector Generals will not be negatively impacted if they assume that their own staff is using this same process to hinder the people that are expected to perform. So we want to know a little bit more about the recourse that an Inspector General might have if they believe that this process is happening to them. Either way, we believe it's something that's being dealt with that we think is problematic. We think it's problematic for the Inspector Generals. We think it's problematic for CIGIE, and that means that people come to members of Congress and want to receive some bit of information back to make sure we're aware of the reality that exists in the community. As a member of this Oversight Committee, I assure you that Mr. Glenn Bratt, and I told him this, that we would be open to hearing. We'd be open to hearing on a bipartisan basis. We'd be interested in delving further and really began what I think is a discussion about each other, hearing from each other about the substance of your performance, the substance of our expectation, but the substance of fixing the problems. We believe we ought to go from fight to fix. And if we're a part of that problem, we need to face up to that, and we're going to agree to do that. So the things which we have talked about at the table can all be said here. Every single bit of it. There was no conversation yesterday that would not be pertinent today, except the belief that you have agreed to come back and us begin that discussion mid-September as necessary. So now I want to recognize the distinguished gentleman from Maryland, the ranking member, Mr. Mfume.